So I pull thorns out of Hans paws, and I borrowed that term from the fable because it's a really good description. It gives you a good visual of how the smallest thing, how a little thorn can keep a full-blown lion from expressing themselves as they are. And so often, what keeps us from having the full impact, having the lives that we want, effect on the world that we want to have, could be the smallest little thing. And I'm really good at pulling thorns out of Hans paws, especially lawyers' paws, because one, I was one. I know the drill. Two, I've had about every thorn you can imagine, so I've been on both sides of those thorns. And three, I'm just working with a ton of lawyers. And one of the thorns that's coming up more and more often, I didn't see it as much before, but now it's everywhere, is the imposter syndrome. We feel like we're not really who we pretend, and any moment we're going to be exposed as the phony that we are. It's, our profession certainly can lend itself to that, since we're required to assume a position we don't believe and then pretend we're the person who believes in what it is we're espousing. And after a while, you can't play defense. But there's another more insidious way that the imposter syndrome shows up, and it became clear in a session I had with one of my coaching clients last week. And she mentioned that before every call she has with a client, she feels a tremendous amount of stress because she has to review the file and do the research and anticipate every question that comes her way. And I said, well, that is so unrealistic. You don't have to be the person that knows everything, but we feel we do. And that is pretending to be the expert with all the answers, whether we actually say it or just hold ourselves to that standard. I think that other people are expecting us to live to that standard. And I shared a story with her. It seemed to have an immediate liberating effect. Hopefully it might have the same for you if you're laboring under the illusion that you need to be the answer man or the answer woman. And that is, after I sold my interest in my law practice, I co-founded a software company. We sold that. And I was in San Jose. The company that bought us had an office there. And I was doing demos for these companies about software. I'm not a software guy. I couldn't pretend to be a software guy, but I had to be because I was going to the big companies. I flew down to San Diego and did a demo at Qualcomm. It's a pretty big deal. And I was in a room with some engineers and I started demoing the product. They asked me a question and I kind of gloved it. And they asked me another question. I felt like, hey, I'm not a software guy. I don't know the answer to this, and I don't want to pretend I do. And immediately the ice broke in the room and they laughed and they said, you have no idea how refreshing it is to be with someone that doesn't pretend to be an expert. And of course I said, look, I'll get you all the answers that you want. And I got them all the answers they wanted. The relationship turned out great. But I got that big exhale, and I got the exhale of not having to be the expert, and they got the exhale of just being with someone who's authentic. I'm not saying don't prepare. I'm not saying don't try to have the answers that you need to have. But you're holding yourself up to that standard, you are always going to feel like a phony who's about to be unmasked. So the imposter syndrome is common. It comes with a profession, but it's not something we have to labor under. Whether it's because we're just acting like someone who believes something they don't, or whether we're pretending to be something that they don't. And the first step towards authenticity is not being imposter. It's just first be honest with yourself, and then find more and more ways that you can trust life and have to be honest with others and find out how well that actually works out for you and for them and for the world.